Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Ema Horvath about Who Are You People, going to be available on digital demand and in theaters starting February 24th. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
No, it's exciting because I feel like these are the movies that really kind of hit and speak to people a lot because, you know, during the pandemic, a lot of us were doing a lot of kind of figuring things out, self-reflection, and like your character is doing that the whole movie, figuring things out about her family life and everything from the start of the movie. So I feel like this movie becomes more relatable because of all the self-reflection during the pandemic. Do you think about those things at all? Like now that the movie's kind of going to be available to see people, we've been through the pandemic. Have you thought about the self-reflection component of this?
Yeah, because I come from the world of genre movies. Genre and fantasy are predominantly what I've been doing. And this is like the one thing on my resume that's a little more like grounded and family drama oriented. I'm really excited to hear people's reactions to it, actually. We shot it so long ago. And I feel like it's very different from anything I've done. So I'm excited.
It's interesting, too, because you got to work with someone who wrote this and directed this. What were those conversations like knowing that, you know, you had that opportunity to speak about the script and about kind of what it's going to look like shots? Because I find that is a really interesting component as well, too, where you're working with, you know, the creators that are wearing kind of many hats. And, you know, for me being a creative, the directing stuff and the writing stuff are two different worlds in a lot of ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, is it really different for both? Yeah, I've never directed, so I have no concept. Yeah, no, I mean it's such a luxury to be directed by the person who wrote it because it's been. I mean, this movie was in Ben's head for a really long time before it was made, and being able to ask someone a question and have the answer be so fast and so confident is so comforting when you're on a job.
100%. And I do find it kind of interesting as well because you got to work with a lot of incredible storytellers on this on this project. Like the cast is pretty stacked, you know, Devon, Yeardley, Alyssa, like it's pretty crazy and everything. Was it like a little bit of both where like you're showing up to work and you're doing your thing and everything, but like did you feel like you were able to kind of learn a lot working with these storytellers, or did you not really think about that much?
Oh yeah, I learned a lot. I mean, I was working every day and so there's a bit of like blinders on, and I think to all of their credits, I think they were hesitant to give me advice because that could come across as condescending or whatever, but all of them lead by example. I think just watching them, I mean, from Alyssa, I learned what it might be like to be a working mom. You know, I really watched her interact with her children and then, you know, go do a take. That was actually really eye-opening for me as someone who wants to be a mother. And then, you know, Devon took his work really seriously. He didn't want to talk to me at all, like outside, just to preserve the sort of authenticity of that particular relationship, which I found very effective, actually. And then Yeardley took really good care of me. I was like having a mother on set.
That's awesome to hear. No, that's really cool. Yeah, the learning experiences. And then I feel like you could write a book about the learning experiences on Rings of Power. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I could write several appendices too.
But like, look at like that project. Like, did you realize the scale of that project right away? Like as soon as you were cast for that? Or is it when you like show up? Because the scale of that, we were kind of told for months and months, reading information about this project, that Prime was going all out, and the scale of this was like the biggest it could be. You know what I mean? Like, were you ready for the scale of Rings of Power?
I wasn't ready, but I was definitely aware when I got the job. Oh, Holy crap. If anything, like when you're shooting it, it feels a lot smaller because you're just on a set like normal, and you're with your colleagues and you're trying to make something. It's not until it goes out into the world, I think, that the scale of it is really like in your face. And I also I studied English lit in college, and so I mean, the fact that there's so many people, there's departments and universities devoted to this stuff. I really enjoyed just spending a lot of time online reading people's reactions to things and deconstructing the show and aspects of the Silmarillion that are in the show and some that aren't. That was such a treat for me, particular.
I find it interesting because you look at Who Are You People, that has kind of an ensemble cast in some ways, like we talked about at the top of the interview, but like a lot of your scenes are with Devon, and it's this kind of like father-daughter kind of dialogue, to the point where like before that there was like we didn't know as an audience member, the characters didn't know that they were kind of related and everything. So that's interesting because a lot of your scenes are with Devon, but you work with a lot of people. You look at Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, that is like the definition of an ensemble cast. Like there are so many characters in that. Does your mindset change from a storyteller perspective, or is it all storytelling? It's just bigger casts and more crossing paths with more characters? Like, I'm curious about that.
It doesn't change at all because my piece in the quilt that is Rings of Power is also a family. Is also a family drama.
I love that quilt. I love that so much. It's so big.
I mean, it's a family drama too, and funnily enough, she's got some daddy issues. My character does on the show, and so that actually was quite familiar, going from Who Are You People to doing Rings, because the family dynamics there were familiar. No, it doesn't change. It shouldn't change. If it does, I think something might be going wrong. The second you start thinking about how the trailer is going to look, that's when you wander down the wrong path. Yeah.
The timeline of like Rings of Power in terms of the news, like it was like such a big kind of wave of like news, you know what I mean? Like it was, the project was announced, more cast, they're in production, first look photos, like everything. Like it was like such a big kind of vehicle of like announcements, which was really, really crazy. And then I feel like it starts to hit you that it becomes disseminated in the world, like when you start doing like the press days for Rings of Power, right? Like does it hit you even before that like the show's coming out, or is it officially when you start doing kind of press for it, where you're like, wow, like we did this show, the scale is the biggest it could be, people are finally able to see it? It's like on the press days, right? Or is it before that?
No, I think it's the press days, because then you have to talk about it. And I'm not always good at that. Talk about what you made. I know I made it. I was there for it, but I don't have. It's hard to come.
It's tough too, because those press days are like in and out, almost like speed dating in a capacity, right? Where you're talking to like outlets paired for like 4 or 5 minutes. So it's like you also have to like pick and choose like what to say, right? Because some questions are very like big questions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then also not give anything away. I think the press tour had a tendency to offer maybe more information than I should have. But yeah, it's hard. You get lulled into it. You're having a conversation with someone, and I want to tell you everything. That was probably the biggest struggle for me.
Oh no, absolutely. Emma, it was so great chatting with you on Pop Turner. Thank you so much for your time. It was really great.
Thank you for having me.
Very quickly, the film is going to be available on digital demand, some theaters, February 24th. Who Are You People? They can check that out. Is there an Instagram account that people can keep up to date with and anything? Is it just your name? Is it just Ema Horvath, or?
My Instagram it's my full name with all the vowels removed. So Ema Helena Horvath without
awesome. So they can keep up to date with all that stuff. Awesome. Well, this has been Pop Turner, youtube.com/Pop Turner. Previous episodes, of course, catch Ema Horvath in Who Are You People? Going to be available in a lot of ways to watch starting February 24th. Until next time, it's Emma and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.